Shalom everyone. We are continuing our limud of Sefer Yeshayahu. We are up to Perek Lamed Tes. These were wonderful events. We read about Sancheiriv being destroyed, his whole army of 185,000 people. At the gates of Yerushalayim, they died the night of Pesach. We read about the illness of Chizkiyahu HaMelech and how he was supposed to die at the age of 39. And because of his tshuva, Hashem gave him 15 more years. And Baruch Hashem, this shows the chesed of Hashem and the greatness of Chizkiyahu and his cooperation with Yeshayahu the Navi. This is the part of Yeshayahu that's a combination of direct history and nevuah. And as I say, this story is recounted in the book of Malachim and the book of Divrei Hayamim, as well as Sefer Yeshayahu. But Sefer Yeshayahu is the earliest account from which the other accounts are taken. Now, Bo'ei Sahi, Perek Lamed Tes, at that time, Shalach Meraidach Baladin ben Baladin Melech Bavel. So at this point, the Babylonian Empire, which is in Iraq, is not an empire. It's a small country. Nebuchadnezzar will make it an empire, but he's not here yet. Although Chazal say he was a foot soldier in Sancheiriv's army and one of the only ones who didn't die. But at that time, the small, insignificant Malchus of Bavel was ruled by a guy whose name was Meraidach Baladin ben Baladin. And apparently, strangely enough, he had a friendly relationship with Chizkiyahu rather than an adverse one. By the way, Chazal point out this is one of the few, if not only, places in Tanakh where a goy is described as the son of somebody. And Chazal say from here that Avdei Kechavim also have yichus, and they are meyuchas after their father, and that is why a goy would have a kayach of Yerusha from his father based on Baladin ben Baladin. So keep in mind, therefore, that Bavel at this point is a very small, insignificant kingdom. And, strangely enough, they have friendly relationship with the Jewish nation, or at least Malchus Yehuda. And Merodach Baladin ben Baladin sent svarim, sent letters, like, get well cards, umincha, and gifts to Chizkiyahu, vayishma ki chola v'yachazak. He had heard that Chizkiyahu was sick and he had gotten better. Rashi says he had heard because he experienced the miracle of the day being 2 hours longer. Vayismach aleim Chizkiyahu, and Chizkiyahu rejoiced over the emissaries of Bavel. Vayar'em es beis nechoso, he showed them his treasury, he showed them the wealth that he amassed, kesev, zohav, besamim, silver and gold and spices, shemen atov, aromatic oil. It's called base kela, of all of the different kalim that he had. V'yeis kol asher nimsa b'yotzrazav, and even the stuff in his treasury. Lo haya davar asher lo herem Chizkiyahu b'veisav chomem shalto. There was not a single aspect of his wealth. Now again, Chizkiyahu did this l'shem shamayim, to show that in spite of the devastation of Malchus Yehuda, and before that the exile of the 10 tribes, Hashem blessed Malchus Yehuda, and this was a way of a Kiddush Hashem. But there was a tzad of gaiva and a tzad of boasting. Chazal say, although it's not beferish in the pasuk here, that he also showed them special treasures in the Beis HaMikdash. And this was not quite right. Some things have to be tznius. Vayava yeshayahu anavi el melech Chizkiyahu, vayamer elav. Ma amru anashim ha'ela. What did these people say to you? I mean, he knew through nevuah, but he wanted Chizkiyahu to say it. Mi'ayin yavo, where are they coming, elecha? V'yomer Chizkiyahu, mi'eretz v'cheka bo, elai mi Bavel, they came all the way from Bavel. Vayamer, Yeshayahu said, Ma ro b'beisecha. What did they see in your palace? Vayamer Chizkiyahu, es kol asher b'beisi ro. They saw everything. Lo haya davar asher lo harisem biotzrotzai. There was not a single thing I didn't show them. Rashi says, afilu sefer Torah. Vayomer yeshayahu el Chizkiyahu. Shema devar Hashem tzavakos. Listen to the words of God. Mida keneged mida. You expose your wealth to the Babylonians. At the time of the Churban, the Babylonians will take that wealth away from you. Nebuchadnezzar. Hine yamim boim. V'nisa kol asher b'veisecha. All that is in your house will be carried away. V'asher atzra v'eisecha, and all that your forefathers have accumulated. Ada yamazeh. Bavel, they will be taken to Bavel. Lo yivaser davar, there will not be a single item of wealth remaining in Eretz Yisrael. And not only that, umi banecha asher yetzu mimcha asher tolid, and from your children, meaning from your from your descendants. Again, the Churban is around 100 years from this point. Yikachu. V'hayu sarisim behechel melech Bavel. Your descendants, you're trying to say you're better than Bavel, your descendants will be servants to the king of Bavel. So this refers specifically to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, who were descended from the Zerah HaMalchus, and they were servants, they were advisors to Nebuchadnezzar. Again, what to make of this is a little difficult, because Avada Hashem is not saying the Beis HaMikdash is going to be destroyed because you showed off your wealth to Bavel. Fakert, had the Klal Yisrael not been guilty of Avodah Zarah, Gilei Arayah, Sherichas Damim, there wouldn't have been a Churban. But this was an extra measure of chait that will cause a forfeiture of wealth. Theoretically, even after the Churban, the mishpacha of Melech could have kept its wealth, and that could have allowed a partial tekuma. Because of this, that's going to be taken away as well. So now we have one of the strangest answers in Tanakh, that the Navi is telling Yeshayahu, because you were showing off, because you were misgoya, all of this wealth will be taken away from your descendants. So Vayomer Chizkiyahu el Yeshayahu. Taiv devar Hashem asher dibarta. The words of God are good, I accept them. Vayomer ki yiyeh shalom v'emes biyamai. As long as there is peace and truth in my lifetime, I don't much care what will happen later. Very, very shver pasuk. To simply say, like one of the French kings said before the French Revolution, Après moi le deluge, after me let there be a flood, I don't care. That's not what a Yiddish Melech says. It's tzaddik, Chizkiyahu doesn't say, who cares about the later generations as long as everything's good for me. But the Mefarshim say you have to really read it the other way around, and that he says he's acknowledging that he committed a chait. And he says, Hashem is showing me chesed that at least I won't experience it. And for that I have to be grateful, even though the fact that my children will lose it is a source of great tsar. So this is the end of Chelek Aleph of Yeshayahu, 39 prakim, much of which deals with many, many different themes, but the downfall of Sancheriv is a major, major theme for all the 39 prakim. Starting from Perek Mem, which is part 2 of Yeshayahu, till the end of the Sefer, are the famous prophecies, in fact all of the 7 Haftarahs of comfort that we read between Tisha B'Av and Rosh Hashanah are taken from Chelek Beis of Yeshayahu, and they are the great messianic prophecies of Acharis Hayomim, and really we'll be studying them as a unit. So Yeshayahu, although we believe in only one Yeshayahu, we don't believe, as academics say, in multiple books, but it is very, very clear that the book has 2 chalakim. The first 39 prakim are largely concerned with Sancheriv and the downfall of other nations, although there's many messianic materials even there. Perek Mem is dealing with Yemosa Mashiach. May it be Niskala Bimheira V'Yameinu.